Hey everybody, it's GoblinX, and welcome back to another Premier Draft of Duskmourn House of Horror. Without further ado, let's get into the pack 1 pick 1. We got a double rare pack, which is pretty sweet, but I think I'm going to go with the Reluctant Role Model here. It's got that new survival mechanic, so at the beginning of your second main phase, if it's tapped, it gets a benefit, and this one's a pretty huge benefit. So ideally you're going to put a flying counter on it first, and that's going to help it get future attacks in to then get even more counters. Then you slap on lifelink and a bunch of +1/+1 counters on it, and then whenever it or any other creature you control dies, if that creature had counters on it, you get to move all those counters over to another creature. So a really, really good card. You do want to take some combat tricks and stuff to make sure you can get that survival going, because if you're like on the draw, then it's going to be a little hard for this to attack in as just a 2/2 and get its first survival trigger to get the flying counter without some support. So you do want to build around it a little bit, but I think it's a very powerful card. Now, here's a super powerful card. You don't have to build around at all. In fact, you don't even have to be in a specific color. Dissection Tools is a 5 mana 4/4 Death Touch lifelink at worst, which is a fine filler card, but it actually becomes really good when you can sacrifice creatures to re-equip this to other stuff. And this is a format where you can create some creature tokens. There are 1/1 Glimmers being the most common creature tokens, but there's also expendable creatures in like black and red for Rakdos sacrifice nonsense, and there are like 1/1 gremlin tokens randomly. So you do want to find a tiny bit of token production ideally, but literally no matter what, you can just slot this into any deck and it's going to be great. So I'm very happy to take Dissection Tools. We are taking it over White's best common removal spell, Trapped in the Screen, which is slightly awkward because we're probably playing White, taking the Reluctant Role Model, but I think Dissection Tools is just another fantastic rare and an easy pickup. For pick number 3, we've got a Fear of Surveillance, which is a pretty good card for any White decks that care about Eerie, so any decks that care about enchantments as a card type specifically. It's also 2 card types for Delirium, an enchantment and a creature. It's a lot better than it looks, but it is still just like a solid common, where there are some pretty good uncommons here, like the Irreverent Gremlin for a Boros power 2 or less aggro deck, or the Break Down the Door, just a flexible card for any green deck. Are these uncommons good enough to go a little off color here? Yeah, we're literally only 1 card deep into White with Reluctant Role Model, so I guess I'll take the Irreverent Gremlin here, being my favorite uncommon. 2 mana, 2/2 menace, that's just hard to block immediately, and it sets up your draws throughout the game. So if you're flooding out and you top deck like a 2 mana 2/2 while you have this on board, now you get to play that 2 mana 2/2, discard a land, draw another card, and help filter through a bit of flood that way. Pick number 4. I do think Pyroclasm actually plays a lot better than it looks in this format. It's really bad if you're Boros, though, because you're probably blowing up all your own creatures, because Boros is a very aggressive red-white deck, but any more defensive red decks, there's a lot of 2/2s in the format because of the Manifest Dread mechanic, flipping down, face-down 2/2s, on top of just some aggro decks having some small creatures. So Pyroclasm has actually ruined my day a couple times, but I don't think it fits with anything we've taken so far. There is a great red removal spell with Glassworks and the Shattered Yard here. Just early removal that also becomes a very slow finisher in the late game, but just chipping away for the extra couple points of damage in the late game can end things. There's also Turn Inside Out. This card has played way better than it looks. +3/+0 is a lot, and if your creature ends up trading off anyway, then you've just spent 1 mana to get a 2/2, which is obviously a pretty good deal, so it's actually pretty good too, but I'm going to take removal really highly. I'm going to grab the Glassworks here. I find that a lot of my recent decks have been kind of lacking removal, so I want to make sure that I pick that at a pretty high rate. Pick number 5, there's a Jump Scare here to go with our Reluctant Role Model to make sure it can get its survival ability. And this is multi-purpose as well, which is pretty nice. That's why it plays so well for just that 1 mana. You can use this to eat their creature when they block, or you can use this before blocks, just get all your damage in and get your survival trigger. Or like late game, if you top deck this, sometimes it just kills your opponent when you're in a board stall. Just getting 1 flying attack in can end things, so I think the jump scare is good. A little sad to have seen 2 copies of Ride of the Moth. If I were a little less descriptive and I had a little more time, I would have mentioned this in the last pack, because we were only one card deep into red. That Orzhov Reanimator is a pretty real deck in the format. That'd be a fun path to go, and seeing that could be a decent sign. But luckily, because we didn't hop on those Ride of the Moths, we get the clearest signal that we get to be in Boros. Arabella is one of the strongest signpost uncommons. It is a red and a white for a 1/3 doll. Whenever it attacks, deal X to each opponent and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. If you're just drafting an aggressive deck in red and white, you're naturally going to end up with plenty of creatures that fit that bill. You hardly have to draft around it because the color pair is so well designed to just naturally fit that quality. So I'm going to take Arabella here. I am taking her over good removal. Betrayer's Bargain looking very, very good. It exiles and it's instant speed, but Glassworks also being decent. But that's because I think she gives us just a very clear, very powerful direction for our deck to go. And she's just super efficient at getting tons of damage in. So she's powerful enough that I will take her over removal, even if I did take this other Glassworks pretty highly. Pick 7. Nothing much going on here. Honestly, for anybody. If you're like a Rooms deck, the Underwater Tunnel Slimy Aquarium's decent. Merge is decent in Reanimator. Cultist is decent in Delirium. We're none of those decks, and there's nothing for Boros here. I do not love the Friendly Teddy. Symmetrical card draw. Kind of balances out to basically not being an ability. So it's kind of like a 2-mana 2/2 no text. Since when it dies, each player gets equivalent levels of value. Just don't think we're in the market for that. So I'll try out the Ripper here if we get some token production. Got multiple reasons to want that now. The Boiler Bilge's Ripper and the Dissection tools. Pick 8. We are definitely not going to have enough rooms for the Soul Rager. Not super pumped about a 6-drop, but I also don't need too many combat tricks. Might not need to take a second one this early, still in pack 1 of the draft. I think I'll still take this over Shepherding Spirits, but don't think I'm going to want more than like 2 copies of Jump Scare. Ooh, pick 9, Orphans of the Wheat. This card plays really well with survival creatures, because you can just like tap your whole board to attack in with this, force them into some bad trades where they have to block with like 2 creatures to kill your 2-drop, but also you're getting all of your survival cards to trigger without putting them at any risk. So I like the Orphans of the Wheat a lot here to go with our Reluctant role model. Pick 10, we're not going to play any of this. We're not doing anywhere near enough self-mill that we're worried about using a Malevolent Chandelier to not mill out, and we're not doing any Reanimator stuff where we need a Possessed Goat to discard cards, so just going to throw something in the sideboard. And I guess we get to rare draft here, the Cursed Recording. Pretty cool card. If you're an instant sorcery heavy deck, you can try to go for this for fun. I don't think it's the strongest card ever, though. It is going to put a time counter on this card every time you cast an instant or sorcery, no matter what, even if you didn't choose to copy it. So once you play this, you can only play 6 more instants and sorceries for the rest of the game, which is usually fine. But that's like the big downside of it. Other than that, I mean, 4 mana is just a lot to get this going. So I've never played with or against it yet, but it just doesn't read as particularly powerful to me. And it's for a very narrow, very specific deck that has tons of instants and sorceries in it. I don't think it would be good to just slam it into a Boros aggro deck anyway. So pack 2, pick 1. Patch Plaything actually has decent synergies for our deck. It's going to be a 3-mana 2/1 double strike, so it's a power 2 or less creature that fights like it's a lot bigger, but I just think that Razorkin Horde Caller is a very good card. 5-mana 4/4 haste whenever you attack. Doesn't even have to be with the Horde Caller itself. You get a 1/1 Gremlin token. You can use that Gremlin token with our tools or our Ripper, so that can help there. Plus, it's just good. You're playing the offense and the defense. You're sending a 4/4 in and getting a chump blocker at the same time. Big fan of the Horde Caller. Pack 2, pick 2. What on earth is this? 1-mana flash. Enchant creature control. Enchanted creature has hexproof the turn you play this, and it gets +1/+1, so it's shore up, but you permanently keep the +1/+1. That genuinely seems very good. Worth taking over Seized from Slumber. If we get a couple more survival cards, probably, but otherwise, again, I do think I've been undervaluing removal in this format so far. So I could see this being the wrong pick and we're supposed to take this. We are a very aggressive deck, so the vast majority of the time we're going to have to spend 5 on this, but this can still get our opponent's biggest blocker out of the way at the top of our curve, which is perfectly fine. I don't know, the Shard Mage's Rescue seems pretty sweet at the right time, so I'm going to try that out. It's also an instant speed way to trigger Eerie. This card's probably just really gross in blue-white. In Azorius decks, you have a lot of cards triggering whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield. So now you have an enchantment entering the battlefield at instant speed, countering your opponent's removal spell, giving +1/+1, and triggering all your random Eerie nonsense. Pick 3, Lionheart Glimmer is a wonderful curve topper for Boros aggro. It's one of the only 5 mana power 2 creatures you'd be happy to play. Super good with a wide board state. It is competing with a Betrayer's Bargain for an excellent removal spell. But I think our creature count is not doing so hot right now. We've got 4 2-drops and 3 5-drops. And most of those 5s I really don't want to play. You know what? I'm going to go for the bargain here. I really don't want to end up with too few removal spells this time around. Mythic Rare Soul Warden. Nice common. Taking up a Mythic slot. Very cute. Winter Misanthropic Guide. That's completely off color. We can take a Boros Duel. We can take a Fear of Being Hunted. Grand Entryway Elegant Rotunda would be fine in this deck. This card's really, really good in blue-white. Still pretty good in any other white deck. I think Fear of Being Hunted is a card that has impressed me a lot. It's really gross with combat tricks, and we have a lot of those right now. It's also pretty gross if we can slap dissection tools onto this thing. That would be filthy. Yeah, let's grab the Fear of Being Hunted. I think that fits pretty well into what we have going for us. Pick 5, now we can grab one of these Shepherding Spirits. We do not have nearly enough consistent life gain to try to be at 27 or more life. And I don't really think any deck in this format is going to be able to do the Leyline of Hope thing. Just not a consistent card. Pick 6. I'm already playing some combat tricks, the double jump scare and the Shard Mage's Rescue, to try to work towards our survival on the Reluctant Role model. So the Savior of the Small being able to reanimate some of our cheap creatures. Another powerful survival mechanic that we've already kind of built around a little bit. So I'll grab that. Pick 7. Cold Healer doesn't look super good for this deck. We're not playing a lot of enchantments and it doesn't have power 2 or less. So it misses a lot of synergies. Really don't want another 5-drop. I could use another turn Inside Out. I guess I'll take that. That's kind of like another 2 power creature because the Manifest Dread ability. Speaking of Manifest Dread being power 2 creatures, we could play the Ticket Booth. Just a 3 mana 2/2 because 3 mana to Manifest Dread. If we get to the late game, we can start giving Double Strike. Oh, still seems pretty mediocre. Am I just playing triple turn Inside Out and really trying to just milk that card for all it's worth? I think I am. Triple turn Inside Out. Alright, pack 2 looks pretty awkward for us. This is not the best direction to be getting past to try to get Boros cards, it looks like, so we're going to need to make up for it with pack 3. Although, Most Valuable Slayer, Friendly Ghost. Friendly Ghost really good at getting 1 attack in, and then you have an evasive threat. Most Valuable Slayer, +1/+0 first strike, that can get multiple attacks in throughout the course of the game, and it's a disgusting combo with the Fear of Being Hunted. Make this a 5-power first striker that has to be blocked. Super filthy, so that just looks really good for the deck. Alright, let's see what we got in the final pack. Well, we are not very high on enchantments, but Ghostly Dancers is one of the strongest rares in the format. 5 mana, 2/5 flyer. You return an enchantment from your graveyard to your hand, or unlock a locked door of a room you control, and then whenever you play an enchantment, you get a 3/1 white flying spirit. Absolutely insane Eerie trigger on this card. So we take this and then draft enchantments absurdly highly, because that trigger is so powerful, it's worth even trying to play like a bunch of enchantments in a Boros deck. We have a Glassworks, a Shard Mage's Rescue, a Fear of Being Hunted. We have like 3 enchantments right now. Gonna take some work, but again, this card is so powerful it is worth trying to put in that work. Okay, well here we take another Arabella though over the Fear of Immobility, sadly. So I am passing up on 1 enchantment here because Arabella is literally perfect for our deck, for our archetype. Rajakin Needlehead also strong, a little harder to cast though. Double red. Yeah, I'll take the Arabella. Now, do I have to play Painter Studio, Defaced Gallery, just to have more enchantments in the deck? Can't be as bad as it looks, right? What's the creature count? 13, 14. I only need like 1 or 2 more creatures to be at 15 or 16. I'm gonna take these enchantments real highly. Sorry, Casper. Try this thing out. Never played it yet. Maybe it's better than I am giving it credit for. It just does not look very exciting. Vicious Clown and Hardened Escort. Both of these power 2 or less creatures. The Escort can help get our couple of survival cards in, but the Clown can get a lot of damage in. I think Savior, Role Model here were more of an Escort deck than a Clown deck. So we'll grab that one. Okay, Grand Entryway, Elegant Rotunda, actually perfect with our Eerie rare. This will be absurd. If we get the Ghostly Dancers on board and we draw into the Grand Entryway, Elegant Rotunda, that is 3 Eerie triggers. When we play the Entryway enters the battlefield, and the Glimmer token that's also an enchantment enters the battlefield. That's 2 3/1 flyers. Then we unlock the Elegant Rotunda and get a 3rd while putting a +1/+1 counter on the first 2. That's like the biggest wombo combo imaginable for the Ghostly Dancers. Very happy to take that. It's also a Glimmer token for Sacrificial Fodder for our random Ripper and our Dissection tools. Although, again, we're probably cutting the Ripper. We have also a Ghostly Dancers at 5 mana. No enchantments here. Let's just take a Veteran Survivor so we can get the curve going real early. Scorching Dragonfire, pick 7, slam dunk. Get in here. Excellent, cheap way to get a creature out of the way and exile it to stop it from adding to Delirium, to stop your opponent from reanimating it or using any graveyard abilities. Beautiful stuff. Pick 8 has nothing for us. I'm not going to play a bunch of land cyclers, although they play decently with Manifest Dread, and we have kind of a lot with Dissection Tools and Triple Turn Inside Out. Maybe we weirdly play a ton of these, just so we sometimes maybe randomly manifest them. I guess. I was going to just take this for another rare for the collection, but there's a chance we could just play all the cyclers to try to Manifest Dread into. Pick 9, Ticket Booth. Now I think I'll actually play this, because it actually hits multiple synergies. Generally, on rate, it does not look like a good card, but it's giving us a power 2 or less creature, and it's playing an enchantment, and then it's playing another enchantment later. Could be a thing for this deck. Okay, now I can just rare draft. I'm not going to play a Bear Trap, right? I've got a Dragonfire, got a Glassworks, got a Betrayer's Bargain. It's not infinite removal. Guess we could play a Bear Trap, but again, it's very likely to get cut. Okay, I can play the Clown too. Alright, lots of cuts to make here as we get to the deck building. Alright, so checking out the deck list here, we have 21 cards here up in the creature pile. I am including some non-creatures here like the Ticket Booth, but it's basically a 3-mana 2/2 with a bunch of other abilities. Grand Entryway, 2-mana 1/1 with a bunch of other abilities. So we're counting those on the creature curve because we're going to slam those down on those turns, and they are going to be putting something out, even if it's a smaller creature than normal. So we probably want to go like 17 cards up here, because 15 to 17 for the aggro deck, and 2 of these are like kind of small for the cost. So 21 minus 4 is 17, so we get to make 4 cuts. I kind of want to make it real simple and just like cut top end here. So these land cyclers are super filler. Like the only reason I'm considering them really is that Turn Inside Out is hilarious with them. Not hilarious because with only 3 in the deck, we're not even that likely to hit them, but it's like decent with them. We might spit out a 2/2 that can flip up later. But the problem is like we're such an aggressive deck in the first place. I can't sit here and like not attack with my manifested 2/2 just because later I could flip it up. So the vast majority of the time, even if I do flip up a big 6-drop with my manifest dread, or even if I flip it onto the board, it's unlikely I'll flip it up because it's just going to be attacking in with my whole board of creatures until it dies, until it trades off of something anyway. So it's like a fine combo, but I think we just want to go really early curve to where like we're not going to have the 6 to flip it up by the time it dies anyway. So let's drop those. And then Boiler Village's Ripper. I just don't think I ended up with quite enough expendable stuff. Really just the one like gremlin. That's it. Nothing else even has like a death trigger. So those are pretty easy, like 4 cards to cut here to keep it at 17. And then 4 non-creature cards to cut. So let's separate these into piles. So we got removal spells right here. Not going to cut any of these 3. We have combat tricks right here. We have 6 of them. Feels like where we're cutting cards. I mean, we only have 2 survivor cards that really need combat tricks, the role model and the savior. So we do not need to go this overboard on combat tricks. And then we have the Painter Studio Defaced Gallery. Again, I don't think this is that good. I guess we put it in like a card draw value kind of category here. But I just don't want to cut it because I've never played the card before. I want to see how well it plays. And it also is going to go really well if we ever get the Ghostly Dancers. We want to make sure, again, that we have some amount of enchantments in this deck. And that's going to keep that enchantment count not egregiously low. That's our 6th enchantment. I don't think we can cut any when we only have 6 to go with Ghostly Dancers. So that leaves us with cutting probably 3 combat tricks and a land. And weirdly enough, I do think Turn Inside Out is like the better rate generally, but having actually 3 kind of exciting survival cards in the deck, Veteran Survivor Role Model and Savior of the Small, we want the combat tricks that are going to protect the creatures that are currently on board rather than the ones that are just going to trade off. Right. So this is going to make it so our creature trades up into a bigger creature and we still get a 2/2 left behind. The problem is the 2/2 that we have left behind is not the same one that has the survival ability, and we want to keep the card with the survival ability on the board. So I think I'm going to cut like 2 Turn Inside Outs. Still would like to try it for variety's sake, so play like one of those. Cut 1 land here, seems fine. Although the curve actually does go kind of high here. This actually looks like a 17 land aggro deck. We got a lot of 4s and 5s. We have mana sink abilities like Razorkin that can rip lands away to draw more cards. We have a 6 mana sink with Tunnel of Hate that could give us double strike in the late game. 5 mana sink with Sheltered Yard. Actually, Painter's Studio for card draw. Actually, shoot. I don't want to cut any more combat tricks in this deck. Do I have to cut another creature? Maybe. Because if I want to play 17 lands, I have to cut another creature and another non-creature at this point. I guess I have the Gremlin as well, discarding cards and drawing cards. I feel like I'm decent at preventing mana flood. Not incredible, but decent. Alright, well, sad day. I'm just going to cut all the Turn Inside Outs and just run all of these survival-oriented combat tricks here. Curve is real nice and low. There's the amount of stuff we can do for just 2 mana. So I guess, yeah, if I just don't get enough mana, still have a lot of castable things, even if I'm not doing everything. I'm going to cut a 17th land, because I just don't see any of these creatures I really want to cut. Maybe Savior or Razorkin. Like, the more expensive the survival creature, the more difficult it is to actually get that in. Because at that point, your opponent has had so many turns to establish a board state of blockers. So I think Savior's worse. I mean, it's definitely worse than Reluctant Role Model, but that's because it's a great rare. But I think it's also maybe even worse than Veteran Survivor, even though this card's so unlikely to actually do anything with its survival ability. And then Razorkin just doesn't hit any, like, synergy. It's just kind of in there. Just fine filler. It's just like the other cut, maybe. Well, we'll try cutting a land. We'll see how that plays. Because you could argue that some of the cards that I said are good at preventing Mana Flood are also good at preventing Mana Screw. Now, obviously not the Razorkin, but the Gremlin, we can discard non-lands trying to draw lands. The Defaced Gallery, I could run this out at, the Painter's Studio, I could run this out at 3 mana, dig 2 cards closer to more lands, and if I don't hit lands in the top 2, I've still milled 2 cards closer to where those lands will be. So that's a couple ways. And then I thought there was something a little more. I guess that might be it. Yeah. I don't know. Feels pretty natural. Just go 16 land when you're aggro with this many 2-drops. I'm just going to do that. 13 red cards and 12 white. I have to have more of one color than the other. I guess I've got more white 1-drops than red ones. Got a double red 3-drop, but that's the only early double colored card. Yeah, I'm going to go deeper white than red, and I still got 8 red sources. Should be fine. This will really make sure we can play that Veteran Survivor turn 1 the majority of games, and then even when we get to like 2 mana creatures, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2 mana white creatures and only 3 2 mana red creatures. So white is more important than red in the just like opening hand. So we'll go for that kind of split. Call it a deck here, hop into the gameplay, and see how it does. Well, this hand's depressing, because we decided to play more white sources than red sources, and this is kind of exactly why. But we still opened double mountain and no plains in the opener, so we got a mulligan. Alright, this is pretty decent. I even have the Shard Mage's Rescue to protect the Ghostly Dancers and make a flyer at the same time. That could be awesome. I think I have to ditch Jump Scare because we're trying to get to 5 mana. One of the biggest 5 mana bombs in the format. We need to keep all the mana we can to get there, turn 5. That is a terrible draw, because we need a second white source. So a 4th mountain at any point is going to be completely redundant. Now having 3 is sketchy. Make it decently likely we find a 4th. Don't make a sound, says our opponent. Counters the Arabella, which is fine, because she actually doesn't have any support in this hand. She was just going to sit there pinging for like 2 damage a turn. Skull Crab going for the mill game here. They've got the defenders to go with it. There is an Grand Entryway Elegant Rotunda for triple Ghostly Dancers trigger. I'd like to sit here and play the long game. Trying to just play Ghostly Dancers turn 6, holding up the rescue. And I'm giving them a lot of time to mill me out. I think I still play for that. I'm gonna play the Painter's Studio. Hopefully this hits a land and a spell, and I play that land and spell next turn. Oh, that's so awkward. Because we want both of those planes. One of those is gone forever, so the studio drew us only 1 card, and now we're even less likely to find a 3rd planes for the Ghostly Dancers. That is genuinely bad for us. Yeah, we need the 3rd plane so that I can play Dancers and hold up the rescue in the same turn. Definitely get to play Horde Caller next turn now, which is nice. I think the Eerie trigger is so powerful I don't even activate the gallery right now, do I? No, I've got the triple Eerie coming up. Yeah, we'll just think a little mana here while we have it. I can just triple Eerie after the Ghostly Dancers, and that should be more than enough to win the game. Especially because it'll be quadruple Eerie, right? Because it'll be the 1 Eerie from Shard Mage's Rescue. I suppose if they just have another counterspell here, we're doomed. So they just counterspell it. Although they'll counterspell the Horde Caller. Oh, if they left the mana up, they would counterspell the Horde Caller. But now they don't. Oh god, and they milled 2 more white sources? Still hit planes 3. You love to see it. That was so important there. And here's where we get rewarded for activating the Defaced Gallery last turn. It means we can attack into a 2/5 where we could not have otherwise. Yeah, that's going to make the fear unblockable, right? Do I chunk 2 damage? If I don't, I'm at 9. I feel like I still don't, though, because we can find better blocks for it later. Ghostly Keybearer? There is no 1-mana counterspell. G'st of G's, please? Ghostly Dancers for the absolute victory. They can double block the Horde Caller and then I just kill the flyer, but that is fine by me. No blocks, go to 10. It's going to be a close game. It is not going to come to mill here. Does look like they're mono blue mill. Maybe don't put mill in there, but the fact that they're mono blue is what leads me to think that they're mono blue mill in particular, because obviously they have the Skull Crab for mill, but one Skull Crab is not enough to make a whole mill deck. The only reason in this format to force mono blue is a triple blue legendary crab that's an unblockable 10/1, and all of your creatures, instead of dealing combat damage to your opponents, mill them that much. So that's what really makes me think that they are actually the full-on mono blue mill, because I mean they look mono blue at this point unless they're very unlucky, and they have a Skull Crab, so I think they probably got that legendary creature and drafted around it here. Can try to kill the Prowler if I triple block and cast Shard Mage's Rescue. That feels a little too bold. I don't think the Clammy Prowler is going to kill me fast enough that I need to go for that. I'm just going to chump here. Takes another 2 swings for them to kill me. I can probably kill them before they kill me. As long as Ghostly Dancer sticks around, the only way to kind of guarantee that is to hold on to this rescue. Fear of being hunted. Do I want to play that instead of the Rotunda here? Maybe. I mean, definitely Grand Entryway is going to be completely busted. Cha-ching. Fear of being hunted forces a block, but they just block with the Skull Crab. Or the 3/3 to kill it. I feel like it's better to get another creature on the board than it is to get a couple +1/+1 counters, though. Because this is going to be 2 creatures. It's going to be the Fear and another 3/1. Alright, at this point, if they could have killed the Ghostly Dancers, they would have. So if they block it with a 3/3 flyer, I'll Shard Mage's Rescue to kill it. Oh. Or this works, too. So they crack back for 3 here. Dancers just bounces off the Keybearer if I put this there. But I think I need to attack with everybody. Max attackers. Bounce. Could double block. Chump. If I don't have this bounce, that frees up the Keybearer to block elsewhere, but it doesn't block elsewhere well anyway. So I actually don't attack with Ghostly Dancers. Well, no, if I attack with this, they can't double block the Horde Caller with 2/3/3s without letting Dancers get through for a little bit of damage. Oh, right, it is 3 power. I'm so dumb. My whole board's getting +1/+0 on attacks. So it is big enough to attack the Key Bearer in the first place. And the 5/5 is a 6/5, so they can't double block it with 2/3/3s profitably. Alright, I just need to not die to some kind of blue +3/+3, which I don't think exists. And then they're very dead next turn with this wide board state where everyone's getting +1/+0. Meat Locker. It's not bad, but I'm pretty sure they're dead on board. Math is for blockers, though. Ooh, they milled 2 really good cards for guaranteeing lethal. Double Strike and Destroy a Blocker. Okay, this looks like just sending a message at this point. Chump chump, kill them on the crackback. Oh, they get the free unlock from the Key Bearer, though. But they did make that unblockable, so I couldn't have stopped that. That's just a draw 3 discard one. Yeah, still not going to do it. Unless they have a really good 2-mana spell. Flood Pit's Drowner is a pretty good one, but still not enough. So that is lethal. We start things off 1-0. There's that Ghostly Dancers again. Where's the 9 white sources, though? This is the second opener that's mono red. Is this keepable, though? Arguably, because we have Dragonfire, Fear of Being Hunted, and Horde Caller off of any land draws, regardless of color. And obviously the strongest card in the deck if we find double white. It's awkward, but I cannot control the Arena Shuffler as much as I wish I could. Playing against another red deck. And that's an awful start. First 2 draws are 2 more white spells. Dragonfire that. Delay the game a bit, give us more time to draw lands. There we go. Orphans of the Wheat here so I can play Role Model and tap it next turn. Feels like the line. I could also actually just play the Role Model right now. And if they don't like Dragonfire it, then I can Fear Being Hunted to kill their other card. Okay, Fear of Being Hunted is super worth playing over the Role Model now. So if I play Role Model, I'm attacking with a 3/2. And they just get to eat my 3/2, even though I get to get a Survivor trigger. But now I get to trade Fear of Being Hunted into an actually pretty good blocker. Fear of Surveillance. And that's it. Three mana up, so they have definitely got the mana for something like a Scorching Dragonfire if they have one. And I don't have enough creatures on board to attack orphans into this Fear without just trading 1 for 1. So do I just wait here? I can wait here, and then next turn I have a pretty massive Orphans of the Wheat attack. Because I've got my double white ready. Which means I can play Survivor and Role Model in the same turn next turn, and that's a triple tap for Orphans if I need to. Nice. So played around the Scorching Dragonfire well. Reluctant Role Model remains. So if we hit a land, we might just go Horde Caller. If we don't, Survivor Role Model's the play. Blocking might not be the worst here. I mean, the 5 open mana is questionable. But the trading here might not be the worst, even though I have these. Just because I also have premium 5-drops I'm likely to run out instead. Like so. Ooh, I do unlock the Tunnel of Hate for free the turn I play the Ghostly Dancers, which immediately gives me a 3/1 flyer, right? Oh my god. Okay. So if I Horde Caller into Ghostly Dancers, I then get a double striking Horde Caller swing? Pretty filthy. Or if I just wait for the Ghostly Dancers and then I like get a double striking Role Model swing, that's also pretty good. To make this 3 toughness, they have to double block it to kill it. Horde Caller they can double block and kill as well. I feel like it's better for them to double block kill Orphans than it is to double block kill the Horde Caller. So let's see if we can set that up. Get them to kill the Orphans here, and I can take 6 on the Crackback, it's whatever. With these cards to follow through. I mean, they know if they don't kill it, I can go survival all day long. They don't kill it. The aggro mirror is aggressive. Who would have thought? They're just going to swing right back for a bunch of damage. We might be on double striking Orphans of the Wheat since it's still around. That'll give me more Veteran Survivor survivals to try to get this to the big 5/4 hexproof. Goodbye, Role Model. Hello, Flying Survivor. Flying Survivor or Flying Orphans? Flying Survivor, right? I don't think there's a 2-mana instant that can blow up my Ghostly Dancers, and even if there is, I think I get my trigger. I at least get to unlock the Tunnel of Hate here. They could kill it before the Eerie trigger, technically. If they have 2-mana instant speed removal that could kill it. Although I am tempted to Horde Caller, actually, and really reverse this race. Yeah, Horde Caller's still going to be good next turn. Ghostly Dancer's just way too busted right now. 2/5 flyer, a 3/1 flyer, and unlock the Tunnel of Hate. Or a 4/4 and a 1/1. Yeah, no, I'm just going for it. Okay, more than enough. They hate to see the Ghostly Dancers, and they scoop them up. We are 2-0 heading into Game 3. It's like that ghost in the basement in Luigi's Mansion. I guess not the basement, that's the first floor, right? In the ballroom. Here we are for Game 3. It's our best opener yet. Great mana at the ready, curving out from turn 2. We've got 2 different combos for Fear of Being Hunted here, so that card's probably going to play pretty nasty. We can give it Indestructible or First Strike. Oh. And now I don't think I can do either, because letting this thing stick around is absurd value. To get a 1/1, then I start drawing cards, maybe. As good as the combo would be later, stopping this immediately kind of feels worth it. So if I don't stop it now with Fear of Being Hunted, it's never going to be untapped again. It's just going to keep attacking in. If I try to just like play this and hold up double blocks, 1 removal spell or 1 combat trick, almost anything in the book ruins that line. Yeah, I just need this to not do its thing. Goodbye, Wombo Combo. It was fun to believe. Goodbye, Escort. We're not playing a 3-drop on curve anymore. Oh. This is a May ability, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. Looks like I'm not playing my 4-drop on curve either. Just gonna play that and try to give it first strike if they can't block a 3-2 first strike well. That works. At least made them sorcery speed there. Instant speed removal. Get it out of the way. Come on, land. Dang. Cynical Owner is very fun in Reanimator decks. If it manages to survive, they put their best creature in grave to reanimate later. We'll see. Horde Caller is such a good 5-drop, there's a genuine argument for discarding the Shard Mage's Rescue. But I'm not going to do it against Black-White. It's a really good removal-heavy color pair. So I feel like the Rescue should play really well at some point here. Gremlin has put in work here. He's got a lot of damage. And also, this thing is way better than I thought it was. This thing's been consistently just, like, actually getting some damage in. Show me the Trixies. Oh, another nowhere to run? Pretty gross. Oh god, please don't have the reanimation spell or this game is over. At least if it's like 3-mana reanimation. If they have to wait a turn, we might be fine. Okay, they're up to 14. For some reason, I always thought this made you lose life instead of gain life. Well, I guess we lose for not discarding the rescue. You are 1 card too late. You fools! You buffoons! What are you doing there? God, they've gained a lot of life here, haven't they? Ooh, the double Shroud Stomper. They've got the right. It is so over. Okay, Emerge. That only brings 1 back. Which is still more than enough to kill us. This card is stupid good. Jump scare is probably not enough. That's gonna get some unblockable damage in later. We're hoping that they don't block and then they don't really have much follow through other than a counterattack. Those are some unlikely dreams, but it's what we've got here. I think if we had ditched the rescue to draw a card here to actually just play out on curve a little better, we'd have a much better shot at this game, so that really didn't pan out for us. Alright, please do not have another reanimation spell. That will be so bad for me. Okay, just a machete. You know things are bad when your opponent pulls out a machete and you're like, okay, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. They're just pulling out weaponry at the table. Could be worse. Could be worse. Leave up double white. Thank you, Auto Tapper. Very cool. It doesn't matter. They're all dead. Okay, I will not ditch one of these, even though I probably should. Learn my lesson? No, never. A 5/5 lifelink on blocks. I feel like I can attack here, but I don't actually win the double block, so it doesn't matter. If they call my bluff and double block, then it kind of sucks. Like, I could jump scare and then I kill both, but I still lose the gremlin, so I'm trading 2 cards for 2 cards. It's not great. What? Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has Death Touch and Lifelink. Does the having Death Touch and Lifelink somehow overwrite having Hexproof? What? It does say has Death Touch and Lifelink instead of gains Death Touch and Lifelink, or has Death Touch and Lifelink in addition to its other abilities. So that might just be how this piece of poop works. Not a piece of poop. It's a very good card. It's just this exact scenario, if that's how it works, just hoses me. That's literally like a game-losing interaction. Because if I could have just countered that murder, they have no attacks here, and I have a 5/5 lifelinker now. Wow. That's so weird. Oh, I should have done that at instant speed. Sorry, my mind is elsewhere right now because that interaction just completely took me for a whirl. I could have done that at instant speed so they couldn't just put the machete on the Fanatic, and it doesn't matter. They don't need to. They'll just play a Glimmer, so at least we didn't get punished for that. But yeah, I mean, we kind of... Oh, what a tragic draw. Oh, if I had triple planes, it would be enough. Because if I had triple planes, I could play this, pick up my 1-mana white enchantment, and then play it. The Shard Mage's Rescue is in the grave. Ah, or if I had 1 more mana, I could play the Fear of Being Hunted, and that would also be enough. Oh, we're exactly 1 land off in 2 different ways. Triple white gets there, and an 8th land gets there. But we're on 7 and just double white. That was like the millionth game in a row that our 9 plains versus 8 mountains is being very red heavy. Oh, well. Oh wait, I can pick up Grand Entryway. No, I can't because I don't have triple white. Oh, there's so many ways I could have been good here. The Grand Entryway would have been like super victory. Yeah, Fear costs 3. Grand Entryway costs white. Shard Mage's Rescue costs white. No, I can't do anything. Oh, man. Brutal. The Shard Mage's Rescue dissection thing trick not working was just the roughest thing in the world. And since we drew into that, we like definitely would have won if that worked. So close. close. Just any land from victory, or our hexproof trick actually working would be victory. Rough first loss there. We are 2-1 heading into game 4. All right, here we are on the play for game number 4. Wonderful hand. We're not doing a whole lot on turn 2 or 3, but wow, we've got the curve out on 4 and 5. So just need to find those in-between turns. Even if we just hit a couple 2-drops, that's fine. I'll play a 2-drop on turn 3 and still be perfectly happy. Mountain 4 would be super bad. So Mountain 3 is terrifying every time, because we need that double white turn 5. And the 4th mountain would be 100% redundant. Doesn't even help pay the generic for the dancers. Alright, we didn't find a 2-drop, but we found a 3-drop on curve, which is nice. And I don't mind just trading Survivor into a 2-2 here. I don't think I need to try to do Hardened Escort nonsense, because if I try to do that, then the Escort's going to trade into the Death Toucher. Well, I guess maybe not, because I've got the Slayer to go with it too. Oh, Mountain 4, what is going on with the draws arena? I'm playing 9 white sources and 8 red, but I'm drawing always the red cards. Or the red lands. Some weird draws today. Tragic. Did not find the white in time. We can crew up a 5/5. Just jump scare kill it with either of these. Go squad go. Oh, wait till they block, probably. I got you. Scared you. Should probably hold on to this. I've got some ways to like discard a card, draw a card in this deck. The twins have arrived. The shining begins. Mill a 2/1 thing. Hey, white source. I don't want to play a dancers with no enchantments. I kind of want to wait for Plains 3. Is that wrong? I guess I could see if they kill whatever I put the rescue on, and then the dancers can pick up the rescue. That could be cute. So like whatever they double block here, I throw a rescue onto it, and then later, whoa! Later they end up killing that card, and then I have an enchantment engraved for the dancers. What do I do here? How does the escort survive? Literally no matter how I do this, right? Because if I first strike away the plaything and the twins, it takes 2 damage on its 5 toughness, then takes 2 more and lives. I think I kill the face down and the plaything then, right? This should live. 5 toughness, taking 4 damage total. Yes. Oh my god, the face down was a mythic. Please don't reanimate it. Yes, blow it up. Aw, shuffle it in. I want it in my graveyard. See, because then I have the source to pick it up from grave and play it immediately. This is the world's saddest ghostly dancers, but I think... Why did I attack there? I think I gotta just play it. Goodbye, Hardened Escort. That's not a particularly good attack. But I suppose it wasn't actually, like, completely useless. So they're at 2 swings from Ghostly Dancers to dead. Yeah, 2 flying swings and they're dead. We go for it. No value Ghostly Dancers, let's go. Well, no, because their Survivor's gaining life here. Ooh, yeah, the Survivor life gain's gonna be rough. So I'm gonna have to double block with Slayer and Dancers to keep it off me. Get them to stop gaining life. I'm at 20. They're gonna gain the life either way. Might as well take the 4. Just in case they have a combat trick. Arabella. I don't hate you at all. Ghostly Dancers, surprisingly. Big Bomb Rare Flyer has 2 or less power. It goes with Arabella. I didn't even put that together when I was building this deck. I was just excited about all the other nonsense it does. No. Wow, our deck is good against Exercise. Stopping the exiling a power 4 greater creature with most of our cards. I guess it's not great against it. We have premium artifact creatures like Arabella and good enchantment creatures like what the heck is it called? Fear of being hunted or whatever. Valvagoth's Onslaught, that's even better than my rare. So you don't have to do anything to get it going. Just get 2 4/4s for 5 mana. Where are the enchantments though? I guess we lose to Valvagoth's Onslaught here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. If I made that one Ghostly Dancers block earlier because they didn't end up having a combat trick, I would have had enough life to double block and kill Survivor to stop them from gaining life on this next attack and just take the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I could have taken the 13 here to go for the 2-turn kill. Although, no, then they could kill Most Valuable Slayer. So I would hit for 3 this turn and then only 2 next turn, and they still wouldn't quite die. Yeah. No, I guess we just get got because they shuffled our enchantment in, specifically. If the enchantment were just in our grave... Oh. If the enchantment were just in our grave, then we would have had another 3/1 flyer here, and I think they'd just be dead by now. Because Dancers could have picked it up and played it. So, technically, I would not call it a misplay or a punt. There was one bad attack here that was certainly a misplay. But I would not call my play of playing the enchantment on the Hardened Escort earlier punt, because the only way that doesn't work out is if they shuffle in or exile the enchantment specifically, which is so unlikely. Like, they're just way more likely to just kill the creature itself and have the enchantment go to grave, or just blow up the enchantment naturally. So yeah, I mean, it's rough that they just had... Because the enchantment just gives +1/+1. That's the part that made it really unlikely that they were gonna spend something like an Exercise to exile that enchantment. Right? So I wasn't even considering that as a possibility because it was just so monumentally unlikely that they would spend a card to specifically exile a +1/+1 enchantment. I think this is the only card in the format, Cathartic Parting, that punishes us for the play of using that enchantment as a combat trick and then trying to just reanimate it with Dancers later. Because this is the only card that would have gotten them to spend a card targeting just a +1/+1 enchantment, because they specifically wanted to shuffle the Overlord back in anyway. Yeah, no, I think it is what it is. I think I played that out right for the most part. Technically, the other way we could get punished a little bit is if they never kill the Hardened Escort in combat. Then I can never play the Ghostly Dancers picking up the +1/+1 enchantment, but that also seems super unlikely. It is what it is. I think I played it out fine. There was one really bad attack, obviously, but did not matter in the long run. All right, 2-2 heading into game 5. All right, very happy to see this after a couple pretty devastating losses in a row. We get to be the absolute bullies this game. If our opponent does not have a cheap removal spell for the role model, we're just going to end the game real fast and move on to game 6. So fingers crossed for that. I want to bully somebody now. Let's flip the tables in the other direction here, shall we? Blue-black from our opponent. There is a common removal spell they could have here in that color pair. Especially blue-black and red. Now they could have Scorching Dragonfire or whatever the heck the other thing's called. 2 mana, deal 2 to a creature, gain 2. It's a black common. I think I still have to go for flying here. I could go for the +1/+1 counter to play around them drawing into the 2 mana deal 2, but I think if they had it in their hand, they would have just already played it. And a +1/+1 counter doesn't play around Scorching Dragonfire, they could still deal 3. Not a beautiful draw. Let's see what instant they have here. Could be like the 3 mana 3/2 flash, that'd be fine. Just trade into the Survivor. Yep. I don't think I care about lifelink at all here. We just want to get the +1/+1 counters rolling to try to keep this out of range of removal by the time they draw it. Also make it easier to attack in any flying blockers they manage to establish. See, that I don't exactly attack into, do I? I probably am still supposed to. Just get the role model to trade up here. Get that out of the way for Arabella. I mean, they're kind of forced into this block, right? I mean, they could kill Arabella for free, but then the role model just keeps rolling even farther in. It's an interesting dilemma. See if we can get lands here. Beautiful. It's a land for this turn and next turn. What do I want to bluff? The +2/+2 trick or the +3/+0? Let's bluff the +2/+2 trick. I think I'm going to send both in. Bluff the trick here. Cool. We just get the trade and the extra Arabella damage. Slap those counters onto Arabella. I forgot that it moves the counters around. That was super worth the attack with the role model, at least then, since it moves the counters when it dies. Still don't know if the Arabella attack was right. That might have been a little bold, because they could have just like eaten Arabella and then untapped and murdered role model or something, and then I don't even move the counters, and I'm in a pretty bad spot. All right, incredible draw is incredible. We get to unlock the gallery for free. Which means this attack says 3 power, which they can't block with Apparition. And I get the face shooty. Wonderful, they're down to 5. And there's the concession. We are officially 3-2, heading into game number 6. Game 6 on the play again. Ticket booth into Ghostly Dancers is pretty sweet. Getting to unlock the Tunnel of Hate for free is a huge cost reduction. We don't have a 2-drop, but we go 1, 3, 4, 5. Very good hand. Very obvious keep at the least. And the ticket booth, because it's manifesting dread, is going to shove something in the grave for the survivor. If this is managing to just roll in unblocked for a while. Ooh, that's actually a good draw. So I can get the tap land out of the way here. And we're certainly looking for more white sources towards the dancers. Stick Twister. I am happy to trade with you. I'm going to ticket booth first, though, so I get to exile something with Survivor. Hello, friend. Ooh, boy. It's going to be sweet if it's still around turn 5. Savior of the small time. Savior of the small time. Wasn't even meaning to make a pun, but I guess it works. No! You murdered him. You murdered my savior. Yes, tap out. Thank you very much. We love to see it. Ghostly Dancers is guaranteed to get some ridiculous value here, unlocking a 6-mana room for free and spitting out a 3/1 flyer. Getting us a 4 damage attack in here. And then an 8 damage attack next turn. Is it better to surprise them with the flip up next turn? Or get the 1/1? I guess it depends what the board looks like next turn. We don't know what we're still going to have on board or what they're going to have for blockers. It still keeps the double strike if I flip it up mid-combat, right? Pretty sure that's how it works. But hey, I tried to give hexproof to a manifested thing and it got real angry at me, so. But that's because it had dissection tools on it, I guess. Or because Arena is bugged. I don't know. I'm going to be scouring through the comments of this video like a magnifying glass on. Detective goggles at the ready. Detective cap on. What happened? How does this work? I don't understand. Help me. This looks like we try to surprise flip up the double strike here. And we'll see how it works. If it works the wrong way, then whatever. Okay, 3/4 flash convoke double strike. Okay, well, now it doesn't even matter if it works wrong. This is still going to be decent for us. And it works right! Let's go! We keep the double strike. Well, hello, Shroud Stomper. You're frustratingly good here. I'm still ahead. I'm getting a 6 damage double striking flying attack in. 8 damage total because I can send in the dancers as well. But Shroud Stomper is definitely very bad for me. As is that draw. Play the plains even though I can discard it to the gremlin later. Oh, I can actually discard it to the gremlin right now because Horde Caller doesn't have to attack. That actually becoming really relevant here. I'm so used to it attacking anyway that I'm like, that text is never going to be relevant, but here we go. It doesn't have to attack into the 5/5 to get its trigger. Which is so important here. Oh my god, it's so important because now we get the Glassworks and the Shattered Yard. Definitely want to unlock the Shattered Yard next turn. So, since I want to spend 5 on that next turn anyway, I'll spend 3 to kill this 2/2. Get another flyer. There's the concession from our opponent. Ridiculous stuff from Ghostly Dancers. Just another win from that phenomenal card. And we are 4-2 heading into game 7. But we're at that point now where we are pretty much breaking even on gems no matter what. All right, here we are on the plains for game 7. On the plains. On the play for game 7. We are on the plains. We've got it in the opener. Our first couple games, we had some issues trying to find them, but they've been showing up here recently, which is very good. Shard Mage's Rescue. That card is going to give me nightmares for life now after the Dissection Tools turn. Gruel stuff from our opponent. There's the Flesh Burrower. It's going to trade into our Orphans of the Wheat no matter what, no matter how big we make it later. I don't mind just tossing it out there then. Go. We have none of our, like, 2 survival cards in hand right now anyway. Time to pop open the ticket booth. What shall we manifest? Ooh. Oh boy. Oh boy. I don't get to enter the battlefield effect anymore, but I have no graveyard recursion in this deck, so it is strictly better to put that on board than let it go into the grave. I guess I have the world's tiniest amount of graveyard recursion, right? I have the ghostly dancer themselves can pick up 1 enchantment from grave. I don't want a combat trick to kill a centipede. And I don't want to play Rotunda without 2 creatures out. Let's just play the entryway. And draw plains. Plains, 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 plains. I need your energy. Everybody chant it out loud. Look weird in front of everybody in the room. Plains, plains. Aww. Dang, any land would have been way better than that. Well, I don't know if that's completely true. It's a good card. Can't do anything with it right now. Well, even if the Ghostly Dancer triggers like 1 time, it's still going to be super good, so I guess we're just unlocking the Rotunda. And at this point, at this rate, we don't know when we're going to draw the plains, so we also have to accept the possibility that they just randomly kill this. I don't think I blocked that when I have a Horde Caller potentially coming up. It's not what we wanted to see at all. God, I can use double white so badly right now. Because our opponent has all their mana up for any instance they have, to where I can't even really afford to, like, block their 4/4 with my 3/3, trying to make it a 5/5 with a jump scare. Or else if they have instant speed removal, they're going to blow it up, whereas if I just had double white, it would be so fine to make that play. So I think I actually have to, like, 2-for-1 myself here. Lose a Glimmer and Dragonfire if I want to kill that Survivor. So instead, I'm just going to jump scare the Glimmer. Well, alternatively, that did fly through pretty fast. Maybe they don't have an instant. Maybe we can Arena Cheaty face it, because it didn't even give them an opportunity when it moved to our turn there. Maybe they don't have Trick. No, it gives me the opportunity. Alright, well, we lose. But hey, we probably weren't going to find a plains anyway. We'll see. Oh! Oh my god! That's one of the most horrendous things I've ever seen. Alright, well, buff your Survivor then. Yeah. I knew I wasn't finding the plains. Makes it look a little less embarrassing. So we couldn't use the Ghostly Dancer anyway. We might even be out of enchantments by the time I would have had the next planes, because I might have to just rescue here. I think I do. Yeah, no, I'm just going to be out of enchantments before I would even have time to flip the Rescuer. I guess I'd still have the Tunnel of Hate if I made it to 6 mana. 4 on the crackback. We ball. Oh, I can also chump the 4 every turn. So we definitely ball. FOMO! If they get Delirium, we're super dead. They have multiple combat steps. Oh my god, they just FOMO'd into a haster as well. Gross. I'm not going to block here so I can get another 1-1 and double block the 3-2 with 2 1-1s to kill it. I really want to get another 1-1 so I can discard a card, draw a card here. Anyway. Okay, decent draw, decent draw. Things are looking solid over here. Obviously they have the life total lead by a lot, but our board is really good at playing out the long game. We're going to get a 1-1 every turn. We're going to discard a card, draw a card every turn we need to. And we have a Tunnel of Hate coming up, but they have one right now. Woo. Two for one ourselves. I think I 2 for myself to stop their life gain. I mean, I can always just trump this, but stopping the life gain is going to put a fast clock on them, setting an 8-8 double strike every turn. While we get chump blockers to stop their counterattacks. Yeah, no, this is worth. Oh, wait. Gain 2. Four, 5, 6, 7. Okay, no. Yeah, no, this is fine. I was like, wait, maybe I missed lethal here. Because I was thinking I could use the Hardened Escort and the Jump Scare to get the Horde Collar in this guy, and that would be a 7 power double striker at that point. But I don't even have the 6 mana to activate the tunnel because I top decked Arabella instead. Oh, no. I definitely need to keep Horde Collar on board. So I attack with Gremlin. The only way that they kill it is a double block where I get to kill FOMO and stop them from double attacking. Yeah. I don't think I'd discard Arabella. Even though Tunnel of Hate is obviously big. Arabella's pretty huge as well with this ability to make all these gremlins. Okay, Manifest Dread, and fingers crossed that doesn't trigger Delirium, because if it does, we're kind of dead. Okay, they already had a land engrave, so they're still not at Delirium. What do they need for Delirium? Land, creature, instant? They just need a sorcery, an artifact, or an enchantment. And if they have Delirium, they just get a second combat every turn, right? Yeah. They get to untap one of their creatures, send it in again, which is really gross with Tunnel of Hate. They just send in one giant double striker that I can never hope to kill, and then untap it and send it in again. I guess the fear of missing out itself has to attack every time it does that. So it's only really going to do it one turn, but that's still going to be enough. They can shove a 4th card type into their grave at instant speed. We die to the trample, but it is what it is. Okay. We don't have hopes of counterattacking and winning if we lose our board state here, so that's why I went for just the chump. So they're at 13. They're at 13 life. We're draining them. I can drain them for 4 if I get the Gremlin first. Gremlin to resolve first. So they're at essentially 9 life. They block the Horde Collar. Then they can't block the Gremlin because Menace. So they go down to 6. Double strike this. 6 goes down to 5, 4, 3, 2. 2 life? That's not lethal. What if I double strike the Gremlin? Because then they can't block that, but then they can block a 4, 4, and 1, 1. Then they would take 6, 7, 8, plus 4, 12. 12 is not 13. Also, I can't lethal. And if I don't lethal them, I need blocked like crazy. So we're sending in 1 creature again. I mean, I guess Arabella's gaining us to be at like 10 here, but the double strike is so much. Yeah, I mean, basically if the Wicker Folk ends up getting trample and they double strike trample us, we're gonna be dead. Which means if I kill their FOMO here, I can't really attack without killing their FOMO. Can be at 10 life with 3 1/1 blockers. They attack with a double striking 4 power creature. That's 8 damage, but albeit I can trump everybody else. Oh man. I can't do all this math. I was not built for this. Please tell me that face down is not a sorcery or an enchantment. It's not. We're 100% dead to Delirium and alive otherwise, since they managed to keep FOMO and Wildfire Wickerfolk on board. That means even with like a real big board state, we're super dead if they hit Delirium, because they get 2 attacks with a 4 power double striking trampler if they hit Delirium. Whew. Stressful game. We were 1 card type from super dead, but we managed to get out of there by the skin of our teeth, and we are 5-2 heading into game number 8. All right, here we are on the play for game 8. Nice little hand here. We got both our colors, and we start the curve from 2 mana. If I hit every land on curve, this is going to be a beautiful one, because we are curving on up. And the Gremlin can help do that if I make it to land 3. If I don't make it to land 3, I might not actually get to discard, you know, one of the 3 drops and so on. Okay, well, Arabella helps. Lets me discard a card, draw a card. Discard one of the 3 drops probably, right? I kind of want to discard Vicious Clown just because if we ever hit the Ghostly Dancer, the Tunnel of Hate thing is so good. Beautiful draw. We find the land. Goodbye, Arabella. But at least they had to spend turn 3 killing our turn 2. Well, no, that was our turn 3 play. I lied. Perfectly fair and balanced trade. Nothing to see here. Ooh, manifest an Arabella. I've got the Savior with the Rescue to go with it. Am I ditching a Dragonfire? So I'm going to have the Creatures Engraved for the Savior. Got the Vicious Clown. There's going to be an Arabella and a Gremlin in there maybe too. I don't think I can ditch the Slayer. Maybe I ditch the Rescue itself and just use the Slayer to go with the Savior. Definitely have to ditch something because we're looking for land 4 pretty badly. Jump Scare is not land 4. Unstoppable? Haha. You thought. What a lying name. It's a very stoppable slasher. Live or die. They have chosen death for Arabella. So they've chosen death for themselves. I will not let this stand. Oh, goodbye, Gremlin. You tried. That Miasma Demon's about to look real sad. Wait, why did they... Oh, they misplayed. That's brutal. I would have loved to see that game play out naturally from there, because I think our counterattack next turn was still going to be enough to win the game, even if they played it right. So they wanted to discard 3 cards. They thought they could do -2/-2 for every card they discarded, which they can, but they can only target each creature once. So if you discard 3 cards, you can give 3 creatures -2/-2, but you can't discard like 2 cards to give the same creature -2/-2 twice. They were planning to wipe my whole board, but they ended up discarding 3 cards just to give Savior a single -2/-2 and Gremlin a -2/-2. So had they not done that, the cards they discarded were not good enough to win. Yeah, we would have had an awesome comeback there. Well, comeback, we were in the lead the whole time, but an awesome counterattack there. The most valuable Slayer was going to make that Miasma Demon so sad, because we just slammed that on the board and first strike 4 power Savior attacking in. They can't block without just chumping, which means that we get that damage in, and an Arabella back from the grave. So beautiful stuff from the deck that game, and we are 6-2. So if the whole dissection tools hexproof trick thing worked out how we wanted it to, we would be at the trophy run right now. That's going to haunt me for a while, but we've got another shot here. We have one final chance, one final boss to see if we can get a full prize out 7-win run out of this draft. We'll see how it all ends up as we head into the final battle. All right, here we are for the final battle, and we're right back at that same issue we had in our first couple games. Our 9 planes are running for dear life. We cannot keep this. 4 white spells. I just play a Defaced Gallery for nothing. I guess any land gets me to Painter's Studio, which digs 2 cards deeper to planes. This just feels too risky. Okay, this is better mana. The spells are like a little bit weaker, but still looks probably fine. Keep this. If I have too many lands here, I can use Gremlin, playing an Orphan's turn 3 to ditch 1. Use the Savior to start bringing those back later, maybe. But I kind of need the jump scare to go with the Savior to get that going. That feels iffy. Maybe I'm just have to get rid of the Savior there. But I'm ditching land 3. Because we can also use the Gremlin to just ditch the Savior and try to get a land. If things play out that way as well. Okay. Opponent is on the play with a really nice start for Black-White Reanimator. Valvagos Faithful, Fear of Surveillance, so the Faithful can reanimate whatever they want, and the Surveillance can surveil the big cards to reanimate into their grave. Arabella was a pretty good draw. I might discard the Orphans here, because I'm just going to play a land now, and we want land 4 for Savior next turn, and then there's something in grave for the Savior. This may be wrong, but I'm going to do it. Actually, you know what? I'm stupid. We should have played Arabella. If we just played the Orphans, then we could guarantee a Savior trigger the turn we play the Savior, because we can play the Savior and then tap it to the Orphans. That would have been kind of sick. Yeah, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. Head empty. if we discarded the Arabella and played the Orphans to discard the Arabella, we then get to tap the Savior to the Orphans to reanimate the Arabella guaranteed, and that would be a pretty awesome turn here. They've got Murder mana up. Don't like that. I think I'm just taking the onboard trades if they don't cast any tricks here. Cool. This feels like Murder up, which is a pretty good reason to not have tried to jump scare, but it also means Savior's gonna die, and that's gonna be really bad. Kind of nothing in my deck I can do to play around the Murder. I could Scorch the Faithful to stop them from reanimating stuff, and then the only Murder target's Arabella, but then if it's like anything other than Murder, it's really bad. I mean, Dragonfire's not going to hit much bigger than that. Please be Murder. Please just murder Arabella. Alright. Might be playing around the wrong card. Innocuous Rat, sure. MVS, Most Valuable Slayer. That's going to help Savior get in if they don't have the Murder. Get your 2/2. Please don't be a massive reanimation target. They didn't put a massive reanimation target in Grave, but that's part of the cool thing about the Innocuous Rat in the Reanimator decks, is that you can mill the reanimation target if you have your Reanimator spell in hand, or you can just manifest it onto the board, and if you ever hit the mana, you flip it up. Huh. It feels safer against a face-down card to hold up Jump Scare and Bargain than it does to just play Slayer and just be tapped out going into the combat here. Gonna try to trick our way into keeping Savior on board. No, thank you. Sack a creature or enchantment or pay 2, so we just tap out for this. Beautiful. And then here comes Gremlin right now. Oh, it goes to hand, not to board. Okay, this is a little weaker than I thought. Still decent. Still going to be good value. You know, yeah, that's actually not that impressive to me. That it puts the cards in your hand. Probably overvalued that a little during the draft. Not that it's unplayable, I think it's fine in this deck. But I actually thought this would be pretty good if we can get it going. And it's just like alright. I guess the better terminology was I thought this was great, and it's just pretty good if you get it going. Alright. They do have a Murder. It's just a later Murder. I'm gonna have to go full control mode if I want to try to lethal them next turn, and I hate that so much. Because we need Arabella to trigger before Most Valuable Slayer and then Jump Scare after the Arabella trigger to get the Slayer into the sky. Instead of attacking with a 5-power creature in the sky. 5-power creature in the sky plus Arabella hitting for 3 is exact lethal. So we play the Gremlin, attack with Arabella, trigger for 3, then Slayer trigger resolves for +1, then Jump Scare. If they have a bunch of mana open, we're not going to do any of that. We're going to play around instant speed tricks. But if they tap out for blockers on the ground, that's how we lethal here. And I have to go full control mode and make sure to order everything correctly. Okay. We don't get to do any of that anyway. Just a live or die. Okay, not a great draw, but I have the Gremlin if I hit any other cheap creatures to stop that. Or not to stop that, but to ditch that for something else. I kind of just want to keep this jump scare to get the last damage in evasively. Unstoppable Slasher number 2? Oh no, this is a different matchup. Okay. Unstoppable Slasher is not good. Show me no tricks in your hand, please. No responses yet. Oh. No responses still would definitely mean no tricks. Definitely no tricks. This is certainly lethal if I hold full control mode and do everything correctly. Attack with everybody. Resolve Arabella. Then send her in the sky and they can't block anything. Cool. I don't think I actually had to full control mode for that. And actually, even for ordering your triggered abilities, I don't think you have to full control mode. Just to be safe, I like to full control when I'm doing nonsense like that. Well, there we go. A 7-win trophy run, a sweet one, and it even pulls us up to Mythic on this draft. That's pretty beautiful. Barely scraping by in top 1200. That's where I like to be. That's where we get all the play-in points. You get 20 play-in points towards playing the next qualifier weekend event, which I would honestly rather be top 1200 than top 250 this season, because I have plans the weekend of the qualifier weekend for October weekend. I'm going to be busy, so I can't actually play it. So if you get top 250 Mythic, you're just immediately qualified for that qualifier weekend, and I'm like, well, but then I got nothing out of it because I don't get to play it. But if I'm top 1200 but below top 250, then I get 20 playing points for next season. And I'd rather have that. So one final look at the deck here. Let's take a peek-see. It's a pretty sweet one. Very fun one. There's certainly some filler in here. Like the Razorkin does absolutely nothing for this deck. It's just kind of in there. Savor the Small was a little weaker than I thought it would be. But it was still playing perfectly fine in here. I just thought it like actually fully reanimated the creatures. I guess that'd be a bit busted. That'd be a little too close to like the rare from Bloomburrow. So I guess if this card was rare, it would reanimate the cards instead of putting them on board. Never really got to do anything with Clown, but that's fine. Escort played fine. Yeah, honestly, biggest overperformer goes to the Painter Studio Defaced Gallery. Actually, the just +1/+0 on all attacking creatures stacked up into enough extra damage to make it worth running just the random 3-mana draw too, even if it is an impulse draw. There was one time we got hurt by it pretty bad. We hit like 2 planes when we already played our land for turn or something like that. That was kind of devastating because we had to play it turn 3 that game, so we couldn't have played it until we already played land for turn. But outside of that, it was pretty fantastic. Not like super duper premium, like take it super highly, but certainly a very playable card in this kind of aggro deck. So big fan of that. Arabellas were incredible. Like a lot of the cards in here were incredible, but we really knew they were really good, like Most Valuable Slayer, Arabella, Horde Caller, and Ghostly Dancers. The biggest underperformers, so I mean this is the biggest filler, biggest underperformers go to that Dissection Tools Shard Mage's Rescue turn. So Dissection Tools, every time I played it, I don't think it really ended up mattering, because they ended up just like killing the creature, and I think I only played it like twice. So this is kind of the biggest underperformer for the deck. I still think the card is very good and a card you should take super highly because you can put it into almost any deck. But we have a bit of a lack of expendable, sackable creatures, which makes the card a little bit weaker. And then the way that it worked with that Shard Mage's Rescue was devastating. I mean, it just completely cost us the game pretty much. Maybe I'm wrong on that? I have no idea. That was just a weird... That threw me for an absolute loop, and then I played a little sloppy the rest of that game. Although, from that point on, I'm pretty sure we would have lost anyway, because we did the Dissection Tools Shard Mage's Rescue trick and it didn't work. So, alright. 7-2. 7-2. On the plus side with that whole interaction, if it weren't for that, we wouldn't have gotten to play this deck the maximum amount of times. We would only have played 8 games in 7-1. But now we got to play all 9 and still end with the maximum prize out. Quite a beautiful day of Magic for us. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below, where I'm live approximately once every 15 years. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.